This video is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc. If you're looking for cards in the US, look no further as you can use the promo code MTGMudzda to get you 5% off anything on the site. You can also use the promo code MTGMudzda for 5% off your orders from Face to Face Games, Canada's largest Magic the Gathering store, with qualified orders getting free shipping Canada-wide. And if you just want to help out the channel, you can always consider becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month and join the generic Goblin Gang. Hey gang, I just wanted to let you know that for the next month, I've teamed up with the awesome crew over at cardtrader.com. What is CardTrader, you're asking? It's an online marketplace where individuals and stores around the world can list their cards for sale. Chances are if you're looking for it, they've got it. With an easy to navigate and user-friendly web space, you'll be able to find what you need in no time. Plus, they offer an amazing service called CardTrader Zero, which makes getting your cards from various countries even simpler. For example, I can order a breeding pool from Italy, a dark ritual from Finland, and a reanimate from the UK. They're all then sent to a central hub nearest you for only a small fee, packaged all together, and then shipped your way in one easy shipment. They've also got an optimized shopper to help you find the best possible prices on the card you want. Simply put, if you want to save yourself a headache, use CardTrader. It lets you support local game stores across Europe, save on cards, and save on shipping. If you're interested in checking it out, be sure to sign up with my referral code shown here and in the video description below. Hey gang, and welcome back. Today's game is another Multizone matchup, and I'm playing my newly sleeved up Shorikai deck, keeping Replication Specialist, Karn Silver Golem, Aerial Surveyor, Sculpting Steel, Azorius Chancery, Exotic Orchard, and an island. My buddy Kevin is playing a Zalto deck, keeping 2 mountains, Moonsilver Key, Swiftfoot Boots, Mask of Memory, Chaos Warp, and Leather Armor. Maximus is back playing Kynaios Tiro, keeping a Forest, Frontier Bivouac, Expedition Map, Wall of Shards, Girapur Orrery, Spark Double, and Tidal Barracuda. Thibault is back playing Korvold, keeping Rakdos Signet, Rakdos Carnarium, Torment of Hailfire, Forest, Impulsive Pilferer, Arcane Signet, and a Chaos Warp. I win the die roll and start us off. I draw and play an island. Kevin plays a mountain and casts Leather Armor. Maximus plays a tapped Frontier Bivouac. Thibault plays a Bloodveil Caves, gaining 1. I play an Azorius Chancery and bounce the island back to my hand and then move to discard. Kevin plays a mountain and taps 2 for Moonsilver Key. Maximus plays a command tower and casts Wall of Shards. Thibault draws, plays a land, and casts an Arcane Signet. He then taps it for an Impulsive Pilferer, passing to me. Turn 3 has me playing an island and casting Aerial Surveyor and passing to Kevin. Kevin plays a desert and then cracks the Moonsilver Key to go and find Soul Ring. He then casts the Soul Ring and then a Prodigal Pyromancer and passes to Maximus. Maximus gives me a life from the Wall of Shards and draws. He plays a Forest and then casts Thematic Compass and then an Expedition Map and passes. Thibault casts a Rakdos Signet and then plays a Rugged Highlands which comes in tapped and gains him 1. I drop an island for turn and cast Shorikai and pass to Kevin. Kevin has a mountain and then casts Zalto, and once his commander's out, equips a Leather Armor to him and passes to Maximus. Maximus gives Kevin 2 life on his upkeep and then draws. He plays a Thespian Stage for turn, and then casts Girapur Orrery, and then plays out a Songmad Ruins as his second land for turn, passing. Thibault draws and plays a Rakdos Carnarium and a Forest for his 2 lands. He then casts Korvold and sacrifices the Pilferer as it comes in. He then follows up with a Witch's Oven and passes turn. My turn has me playing 2 plains, and I then play Karn Silver Golem and pass. On my end step, Kevin pings Zalto, venturing into the dungeon of the Mad Mage. Kevin draws and plays a Swiftfoot Boots and equips it onto Zalto. Moving to combat, he swings the giant at max, and he blunts the attack with his wall. Zalto then ventures further into the dungeon of the Mad Mage, and in his post-combat main phase, Kevin casts Cunning Spark Mage and passes. Maximus gives me 3 life and draws for turn. He plays a Plains and then sacrifices the Expedition Map to go and grab a Reflecting Pool and plays it. He then has enough for Kynaios Tiro and on his end step, he gets his trigger, and all of his opponents decide to draw a card. Thibault draws and plays a Keswick Wolf Run, and then casts a Mayhem Devil, moving to combat. He swings Korvold at Kevin, and Thibault sacrifices the treasure token to Korvold, putting a +1/+1 counter onto his commander and drawing a card, and deals 1 damage to the Cunning Spark Mage with the Mayhem Devil trigger. Kevin responds to the targeting by pinging his commander to venture 1 room further. Kevin then takes the hit for 5. Thibault plays a tap Stomping Grounds, and then casts Sifter of Skulls, passing turn. On his end step, I activate Shorikai before going to my turn, drawing 2, discarding 1, and making a pilot token. I draw and play a Command Tower and an Island. I then cast a Replication Specialist, and crew up the Aerial Surveyor with my pilot before going to combat. I swing it at Maximus, and he has more lands than I do, and I grab a Plains to put into field tapped. Maximus blocks with his wall, and after that, I pass to Kevin, who responds at my end step by pinging his commander to venture again. Kevin draws for turn and plays a Great Furnace. He then plays a Mask of Memory and equips it to Zalto. He swings Zalto at Maximus, who blocks with his commander. Kevin then activates the desert to ping his commander for 1, and then ventures again from the combat damage. In his post-combat main phase, he then casts a Vithian Stinger and passes to Maximus. Maximus plays a Tidal Barracuda, and then an Old Growth Dryad to help ramp us up. After that, he passes turn, flipping his compass, and he gets his Kynaios Tiro trigger, while all of his opponents decide to draw a card. Thibault draws and plays Mazarek before moving to combat. He swings Korvold at me, and sacrifices the Witch's Oven, putting an extra +1/+1 counter onto all of his creatures thanks to Mazarek. He gets to put a +1/+1 counter from Korvold's trigger on itself, plus draw a card. Before moving to damage, Kevin responds by casting a Chaos Warp on Mazarek, and this has Thibault shuffling it in and revealing a Death Reap ritual which comes into play. I then take 8 commander damage. After that, Thibault plays a Mountain and passes, and during his end step, I activate Shorikai, drawing 2, discarding 1, and making another pilot token. I draw and play Thran Dynamo, and pay to make a copy of it with a Replication Specialist. I then crew the Aerial Responder and swing at max for 6 in the air. After that, during my end step, Kevin pings Zalto once again to complete the dungeon, casting Basilisk Collar for free from the trigger. Kevin draws and plays a Mountain and a Rogue's Passage. He then plays a Blazing Sunsteel and equips it to Zalto, and then equips the Basilisk Collar to the Vithian Stinger. After that he's done for turn, and passes, which lets Maximus transform his Thespian Stage into a copy of the Spires of Araska, and he moves to his turn. Maximus gives Kevin 5 life, and draws. He then plays Valakut Awakening, putting his hand to the bottom and drawing that many +1, and then moving to his end step. He gets his Kynaios Tiro trigger, and all of his opponents once more decide to draw a card. Thibault draws and plays a Swamp and a Tectonic Edge. He then plays a Torment of Hailfire, where X is 11. I respond by activating Shorikai, drawing 2 and discarding 1 and making a pilot. I don't find an answer, but I do cast Anchor to Reality, sacrificing my Aerial Surveyor to go and grab a Parhelion 2. Kevin responds by pinging Korvold with a Vithian Stinger to kill it, and gains 1 life. And before letting the damage resolve, Maximus jumps in on the action by flashing out Mirage Mirror and activates it to make it a copy of Korvold. Kevin also casts a Thrill of Possibilities, but finds no answer. Kevin decides to ping Zalto with a Pyromancer, and then pings itself 3 times thanks to the sword trigger before dealing 1 extra to Thibault. We then all sacrifice, discard, and lose life, and I lose a total of 9, Kevin loses 15, and Maximus loses 6. Thibault also decides to have 6 damage go to Max, 6 damage go to me, and 8 damage go to Kevin with his Mayhem Devil triggers. And once he's done, he passes turn. I gain 1 from the Inventor's Fair on my upkeep, and draw. I play an Arkham Dagsum and crack the Fair to go and find Peace Walker Colossus. Moving to combat, I crew up and swing Parhelion at Thibault, and make some Angel tokens, which deal a total of 13 damage to him. After that, I pass to Kevin. Kevin draws and plays a Mountain. He casts Seething Song to help replay Zalto, and then a Fire Slinger, which he equips with the boots. Once that's done, he's done. Maximus draws and plays a Reliquary Tower. He then casts Boldweir Heavyweights, and T-Bolt goes to grab a Butcher of Malakir, I bring out Thought Monitor, and Kevin grabs the Silverclad Ferocidons. Max then activates his Mirage Mirror, having it become a copy of the Parhelion 2, which is actually way bigger because of the +1/+1 counters from when it was Korvold, and crews it up before swinging it at T-Bolt. After that, Maximus passes. T-Bolt draws and casts Judith the Scourge Diva, and then recasts Korvold. Responding to the Korvold sacrifice trigger on the stack, Kevin is able to flash in a Flame Fusillade thanks to the Barracuda, and taps 4 permanents to ping T-Bolt for the final 4 damage needed to take him out. T-Bolt responds to the last one on the stack by Chaos Warping the Ferocidons on the way out, and Kevin flips into a Spine Rock Knoll. It comes in, and he then hides away a card. I then flash out Museo and a Peace Walker Colossus before T-Bolt dies, and we move to my turn. I draw and activate Museo, digging 8 cards deep for a Cyberdrive Awakener and put it to the field. This turns all of my non-creature artifacts into 4/4s, and I sacrifice the Thought Monitor to Arkham Dagsum to go and grab a Kappa Cannoneer. Moving to combat, I swing Parhelion and 4 Angels at Kevin to take him out. And in my second main phase, I cast Mech Titan Core and pass to Maximus. Maximus draws and turns his Mirage Mirror into the Boulderweight Heavyweights. He then swings the 2 heavyweights at me, and I activate Peace Walker Colossus to crew Shorikai and block the smaller one. Before damage is dealt though, I activate Shorikai, drawing 2, discarding 1, and make a pilot token, but still take a total of 17. Maximus then plays a Maze of Ith after combat and passes turn. My turn has me playing an Iron Tread Crusher, as well as a Mobilizer Mech. And I activate the Peace Walker Colossus to crew the Parhelion, and then crew up the Peace Walker Colossus by tapping my pilots. I then swing 6 Angels, the Parhelion, Cyberdrive Awakener, Peace Walker Colossus, and the Kappa Cannoneer at Maximus. Maximus responds before moving to blocks by casting Teferi's Protection to basically fog, and after that I pass. Maximus draws and casts an Apex Devastator, hitting Quain, Kiki-Jiki, Heartbeat of Spring, and Healing Technique off of his 4 Cascades. The Healing Technique grabs a Spark Double, which he plays as a copy of Kiki-Jiki. After that, he passes turn. I draw and play a Dermotaxi to make the Cannoneer unblockable and move to combat. I crew my vehicles and swing everything at Max. However, as my team is flying, and he can't block enough, he takes lethal, and I win the game. Game review time. So I think T-Bolt got focused pretty hard after that Torment of Hailfire where it didn't kill everybody. Problems with spells like that are that it paints a huge target on your back, not to mention upsets everyone else at the table. I did think it was pretty sweet for Maximus to flash in the Mirage Mirror and have him become a copy of Korvold so that when he sacrificed a lot of his permanents, he was actually drawing cards and pumping up the Mirage Mirror, which, as we saw later on, was critical in taking T-Bolt out. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't even know that Zalto existed as a card until this game. I typically only see Sephiroth decks built around dungeons, so it was kinda cool to see a mono-red version of it, and Kevin seemed to be doing a pretty decent job of it too. Shorikai is a lot of fun. The draw aspect of the card helps significantly having it in the command zone, not to mention helps you build up pilots to help eventually crew up your commander. I will say that one of the absolute MVPs of this deck though is that Peace Walker Colossus. Being able to crew up your vehicles for only 1 and a white is very powerful in this deck. I was also a huge fan of that Cyberdrive Awakener because it gave all of my artifact creatures flying, which is just beautiful evasion. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, Cool Stuff Inc., Original Magic Art, and Alter Sleeves. But it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.